Hello, my name is Adria Rivera. I'm joined here today by Dr. Frederick Kam, the medical director at Auburn Medclinic. Dr. Kam, thank you for sitting down with me.
My pleasure, AJ.
So, how about you go ahead and let us know, what do you do at the Auburn Medclinic?
So I serve as the executive and the medical director of the clinic. I just started my 25th year. So what I do is I run the clinic. I see patients. I administratively manage all aspects of the clinic's operations, and consult with my clinicians and just about everything, whatever needs to be done.
Alrighty. So, with Auburn's decision making in regards to COVID-19 with the upcoming how involved have you been in that?
I've been involved from pretty early. In fact, to be totally candid with you, we started the process of preparing the clinic on January 9th. That's how far back. So back over the Christmas break, while vacationing with our oldest child, my wife and I, and our family, I read kind of the little blurbs that were coming out of China. So if you remember, classes started back at Auburn on August 8th, and on August 9th, I sent out an email to our international student office and to Auburn Global, saying, hey, a little concerned. I would like to get a list of all students who came from Wuhan, China, or the Hubei province of China. And simultaneously, I instructed my head nurse here at the clinic to order as many N95 masks, gowns, gloves, and hand sanitizer, etc., that she could order. And so she did. And again, back then it wasn't in as huge a demand as would later happen. So we have never ran out of personal protective equipment and have had enough supplies throughout the entire period. And then in January, also around the 20th, I contacted Dr. Gouge. This is before China even shut down um, uh, Wuhan or anywhere, and told him that I was concerned. I had a bad feeling about this particular virus, and I had a concern. And so he invited me to come to the president's cabinet on February 3rd. And that's when I announced to Auburn's leadership that there was a concern, and that I believe it wasn't going to be a if, it was going to be a when, and we should begin the planning process for Auburn to pivot to an online capability, and to consider the possibility that we were not going to have uh, in-person campus operations. We will still operate, but we would not be able to do that probably for a few weeks. And so, to Auburn's credit, Dr. Gouge formed a task force, and we began the process of planning. That's why I think throughout this whole process, Auburn has done really well compared to peers around the country in pivoting to where we are today.
Mm-hmm. So I know a large concern amongst the students is that campus is going to once again close in-person activities, and all classes that are already limited to being face-to-face, all classes are going to be moved to fully online, similar to what was done in the spring. Is this a real concern?
It's always a concern. I mean, again, this is a contagious virus. It has a fatality rate above the flu. And so obviously that would be a concern. At the end of the day, AJ, it doesn't matter. It's going to all depend on people's personal level of responsibility and accountability. If students are concerned about having to shut down in-person classes and switch to online, then they really need to do their part and not go to bars and do the things that limit the spread of this virus. No large gatherings, avoid social events like going to the downtown bars, etc., because those are the environments where this virus really jumps from human to human. This is a respiratory virus, and the virus has one mission, which is to find someone who's uninfected and infect them. It's a really simple mission that this virus has, where regardless of where in the world or what the situation is, that's the virus's sole purpose, is to infect someone who's infected, because then that allows it to propagate. Now, if you were to get it, or I were to get infected tomorrow, and if I did what I was supposed to do and isolate for at least 10 to 14 days, then the infectivity of that virus stops with me, okay, or you. But if I were to potentially get infected, don't do what I'm supposed to do, not wear masks, not socially distance, and I were to go out into venues that allows for other humans who are uninfected to become hosts, then yes, I propagate the spread of the virus. So if we have too much of a viral spread and outbreak that results in East Alabama Medical Center getting a significant number of admissions because of viral spread, then we will have to do what we must do to mitigate the spread of the virus and decrease the overwhelming of the healthcare facilities and possibly unnecessary deaths.
Alrighty. Now, I know obviously the biggest health concern right now is COVID-19. What are some other non-COVID related health risks that students need to know about, whether they're coming to college for the first time or they're returning students?
So, COVID came onto the scene. Everything else didn't leave. So it's not uncommon, during the fall semester, especially the first few weeks into it, we start seeing other respiratory diseases, everything from the common cold, dependent on the year. So I'm predicting that this year we may have a later flu season than we've had in the past. Last year, this time, we already saw a few cases of the flu. We have not seen any so far to this point. So the flu hasn't gone away. It will come. The cold, mononucleosis, strep, throat, asthma attacks, allergy symptoms, especially including, summer allergies and then fall allergies. All of these things are going to happen. And then dependent on, again, people's behaviors and their level of social interaction and lack of performing preventive measures, just about any other contagious disease is still around. It hasn't gone anywhere, just that COVID has come onto the list of possible diseases that people can contract. And again, we don't know how and to what extent if we're going to have intramural sports and all those things, because those come with injuries. Not unlike, people trying to cook and cut themselves, so they need to be stitched or glued. All of those things are going to continue to happen. None of those have gone away. Just COVID has entered into the mix of possible diseases or illnesses or accidents that we need to care for and treat.
Alrighty. Well, Dr. Cam, thank you for answering some of our questions.
Well, great. Anytime. And again, I just want to take this opportunity to remind people to, wear your mask, sanitize your hands, whether it's washing or alcohol as sanitizer. Try and maintain your distance. And, if you start to feel symptoms, then, seek out a healthcare provider for the possibility that you need to be tested or you need to go into quarantine or isolation. This is a very contagious virus. 40 to 80% of people are asymptomatic, but that makes it that much more challenging.